And we are so back yet again. I might need a new intro slogan here one of these weeks. I don't know how many times we can be back, but
that's good though. It's good enthusiasm. We're so
thank
back.
you. Thank you. We are so back. Nothing in the markets is, but we are definitely so back.
I don't know about that. The NASDAQ is like at all-time highs.
Yeah, it's a weak all-time high though. It's a sketchy looking all-time high.
Glad you said that.
Yeah. It's looking a little shaky out there, Eric. Looking a little shaky.
How is it in Cryptoland?
Feel the way I do. Oh, brother, Cryptoland. That depends. Are you in Bitcoin Cryptoland or literally every other coin?
I was told that Bitcoin is not crypto.
Yeah, it's almost unfair to call Bitcoin crypto at this point because it's good and everything else is just fucking terrible. Yeah. Last week was pretty good timing for our little chat about leaving crypto. You know, if not altogether, but with a large amount of our capital and brain power, because almost as if right on cue. I mean, the crime hit new all-time high levels last week. I don't know if you were.
Are you talking about Libra?
Libra.
Yeah, yes. I did see that. Yes,
for those of you who missed it, the president of Argentina, Javier Milei, he, well, I don't know if he did shit, but he tweeted about a coin that was launched by the, supposedly the Argentinian government, LIBRA. People kind of expected this thing to be the next Trump coin, but it went on a tear and then died a horrific death.
Was it rugged?
A rapid, horrific death. Oh my God, it rugged so hard. So hard. I mean, I wonder if I can get a chart of this thing, because is this it? Nope. No, that's not it. Almost put Libra my dick on the screen. I don't think that's the right coin. Gotta be careful with these soul shitters, man.
Wow. They're getting like more and more ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a lot. Anyway, I don't know. I should have probably had this chart ready on Deck Screener before we went with the recording here. But this thing rugged so hard, and it set off just like a wave of crazy shit on crypto Twitter. I don't know if you're on crypto Twitter these days, but
not much.
CoffeeZilla got involved. We had like a moment from The Big Short. Remember that scene where he's like, "Why are they confessing?" Like, yeah. They're not confessing. They're bragging. Dude, wow. Like I'm so over this shit, dude. I'm so over it. Everything is just such a goddamn scam.
So hold on. Like, can I just ask a pretty naive question? Like when something rugs like this, you get the rug pulled out from under you. Does the coin go to actual zero, or is there still some liquidity if like some people like trading and praying that it's going to come back? Like, what happens?
Okay, so in this instance, I believe the dude running the coin yanked like all of the liquidity, like actually rugged the liquidity, and then he made some weird kind of video after.
Wait, hold on. What does that even mean? When someone like rugs the liquidity, does that mean he like?
It's like you have like money in the pool, right, for people to trade out of, but then you yank all of the liquidity out of the pool.
Takes the money from the pool.
Yeah, it's just gone.
Wow.
And then, all right, okay. I was able to find the chart. It's almost hard to even show the chart. Like the rug happened so fast. Like I have to have like the 15-minute chart open to even show you the rug. Otherwise, it's just one candle. Where is this thing? Let's pull this stupid thing up on the screen. Okay, so there's the Libra chart.
Shit. Okay, so you can definitely see where the liquidity gets pulled.
I mean, this thing basically in 3 15-minute candles goes up to 4.8 billion and then 131 million within like a couple hours. A smooth negative 98%.
But there's still a little bit of a heartbeat there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dead looking patient, my brother.
No. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, here's something that I've been wondering is like, when are people going to sort of have enough of this, like get their fill of this type of stuff? Do you think that's already happened and people are kind of like moving on? Because if so, then that's a pretty good outcome.
It is incredible, like the volume of people who are still willing to like participate in this shit. And you get to think that they're going to run out of money at some point, right? Like this can't go on forever. I don't know. Did you see the tweet I made this weekend? I had a viral tweet on Solana over the weekend.
I've seen you've been talking shit on Solana a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking shit on Solana for a while. It did have like a little kind of fake out pump after the Trump thing, but it's dying a rather rapid death today. I mean, over the weekend, I tweeted that this I'll paraphrase some of it because I may have used some offensive words, but basically this coin is just programmed to go to zero because the only main use case of the coin is to rug the holders of the coin. And so you just have this like snake eating its own tail where like it's just people going out into one of those like big game reserves and just shooting like the animals that are there that farm for them to hunt. And at a certain point, there's just no money left because we were inventing all these like more elaborate ways to rug people. Like last cycle was like a great crime cycle. It was like a respectable crime cycle. Like you had like real criminals, right? You had like SBF, sell me all your soul at $3 and then fuck off, right? You had Suzu, like those who don't manage their risk will have the market manage it for them. You had Do Kwon, Steady Lads deploying more capital. Right. I mean, just like really good crime. And now it's just like some fucking kid in LA just launches meme scams for like a foreign government and rugs the whole thing in like 30 minutes. And that's like the crime we have. There's not even like at least Luna was like a grandiose vision. Like,
what about
was it mathematically ignorant? Yes, but it was
what about
like
that little like 12-year-old that was like, thanks for the 20 bandos, bitches.
Oh my God. It's so bad, dude. And this guy, like, what was his name? Hayden, I forget.
When I saw his name, I thought it was the Uniswap guy. I was like, what the fuck? This guy's involved?
I know. No, it was weird. Like he made this video. It looked like he was wearing one of those like muscle suits. You ever see the muscle suits?
I didn't see the video.
Bro, it's like, I can't even do justice to all of the absolute pure mental illness that happened. I mean, I watched like the CoffeeZilla interview for sure. It's just like, you just want everything to go to zero after you watch all this. It's just so bad. Like zero can't come soon enough. It's just like we want God to just send the asteroid and just blow it all up as quickly as possible so that we can just rebuild from the ashes and just like gotta get the ball moving again, you know? I don't want this like slow death.
I mean, I kind of agree that this has been pretty disgusting, and that's why I never really participated at all, because I wasn't finding it fun or like lucrative, I guess, because I'm like more of a long-term holder anyway. So like none of this stuff I thought I could actually hold. But I was thinking more about like, how about for ETH, for instance? At the time, we were thinking like, oh man, ETH is not participating at all in this, like in like what the users want. The users want to trade the meme coin casino, and ETH wasn't participating at all, really. And we thought that was like detrimental because they're like, oh, well, that's where the users are. Why don't we do this on ETH or like L2s or whatever? And then now I'm thinking like, is it better that didn't really happen on ETH and it's still like this unused chain, but untainted at least?
I think in a weird way, you're right. Like, because Solana just became like the 4chan chain, basically. And it is just like a steaming pile of dog shit right now. Like, I know Mert tweeted out that whole diagram, like, oh, look at all the stuff that's built on Solana. Literally nobody fucking cares. Like, all everybody concerns themselves with is the meme coins. All the volume is the meme coins. Like, all the activity is the meme coins. It's just like, that is what it is. So Bitcoin was kind of brilliant in just creating this thing. It was like, it was so decentralized that nobody could rug themselves and none of the holders could do anything. It turns out that like allowing users to do stuff with the token just means that they lose the token, right? So the fact that like all these people who bought Bitcoin could do was just bury it in their backyard and not touch it was incredibly bullish for Bitcoin. Because none of these people could come in and rug themselves, or they couldn't get rugged by other people. It's almost like the more capable the chain is, just the more it just lends itself to maximum extraction and the max rugging of all the users. So Bitcoin did it best without like you couldn't even create a meme coin on Bitcoin, right? And then ETH accidentally made itself so unusable that nobody wanted to rug all the users with meme coins. So maybe ETH is accidentally playing like the longer game a little better. It definitely open to that idea. It's like hard to see how Solana comes back from this, because not only do you have this just mass, you had like Trump and Libra and all these just mass scamming, right? Just the whole cycle is basically taking place in like 6 days at this point. But now you have the unlocks from the FTX estate, just billions unlocking, and you've got like the inflation of Solana, what is it, like 7-8% a year, just tens of millions a day unlocking.
It's kind of, yeah, could get ugly.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, one of the best trades in crypto right now might be just like
short Sol
BTC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because like Sol BTC, I mean, it was a bit of a bitch to trade because it kind of did a little fake out on people. But I mean, this thing is just not looking good. You had kind of the fake out bull pennant that just broke down. And it just looks like the start of ETH BTC all over again. Wouldn't be surprised to see this thing go down like 60, 70%.
Woof.
Rip. Yeah.
Oh man.
It's an inverse bull market for sure. And I think that there's probably a ton of opportunity. This is kind of my main thing I'm looking at this week is like, what can I short versus Bitcoin, I think is sort of main objective right now. Cause like the valuations in the space, like they're still so high. I know everything's gotten wrecked, and yes, like we don't want to short the bottom on alts. You can get your face ripped off. That being said, like I think if you sort of are averaging in some of these positions over a decent time period and not like over leveraging, it's just like this stuff is like literally programmed to go to zero. It's astonishing.
How about Martin Shkreli? Kind of nailed it. I think he's closed all his shorts now. That guy was on fire.
Yeah, I think he got whipped out of his Pepe short. But he made a ton, as far as I know, shorting all of the meme trash. Hell of a trade. Gotta tip your cap. I didn't have the balls to hold any of those for like a particularly long period of time. I should have just held whiff like all the way down to the zero that it will probably inevitably go to. But like I can't stand being like down on trades like after I'm like in the green. I'm just I gotta take my money and run, you know?
So think back to, I guess like I've only had really one real cycle in crypto prior to this. Like when DeFi summer ended and like a lot of those DeFi coins were bleeding out, like the majors, I think like ETH in particular still ripped higher. Bitcoin was kind of flat-ish for a while, but like ETH was really pumping. So I guess like my question was like, can you have like down only in alts, but have something else outperform? Can you have like something go like to the moon while like alts are bleeding?
Yeah, for sure. Because I don't think all this stuff is like mega correlated anymore. There's already like mega dispersion in all these assets, right? You see that. That probably just continues, gets worse and worse and worse. The main thing that's different this cycle is that you don't have this like seamless flow from like Bitcoin profits and capital like into alts, because a lot of this Bitcoin stuff is, if people are longing the ETF, like how does that money ever flow into altcoins? Probably doesn't. Probably doesn't. So what is really the catalyst to have these things go higher? I don't know. Like something always seems to come up, right? It just seems to come up like when the chart gets to a point where it's just like, man, the chart's starting to look like bullish, but I can't conceive of a reason this will go up. Something always happens. There's always like a reason that comes out of thin air for sure. I
don't know if like these coins are all going to need ETF wrappers to be able to trade. So like I'm on Interactive Brokers, I'm on Charles Schwab, Robinhood has like crypto trading of like tokens. It doesn't, it's not just like ETF, Bitcoin and ETH. So like Interactive Brokers, you can buy Uniswap token on Interactive Brokers.
They have Uniswap now?
Yeah. And Charles Schwab was talking about getting involved. They were saying that they kind of like missed the boat and I want to get involved. So I feel like in a way, like all these TradFi brokerages are going to allow you to buy coins.
Yeah, certain coins, like they're going to sort of put this like walled garden up that is probably good, honestly, because it probably prevents people from like rugging themselves particularly hard.
Yeah. And then I was thinking too, along those lines, like if you can trade all these coins or like the blue chip coins, if you can trade those on your brokerage account, TradFi, then like, why do you need Coinbase? And then if we're talking about Coinbase, it's like what Coinbase is limited in its offering because you can only trade crypto there, but then the brokerage, you can trade crypto and stonks and options and stuff like that's probably pretty negative for Coinbase, at least in the near term.
Yeah. I just don't know anybody who's like enamored with like trading coins on like Interactive Brokers or any of these things, right?
I don't think there's anybody doing it.
And like, how hard is it? Like I have a Coinbase account and a brokerage account. Like, are they really going to steal that much?
Well, on Robinhood, they're probably doing it.
Yeah, Robinhood's definitely interesting. I mean, can we talk about Coin for a little bit? Because Coin had earnings last week and absolutely smashed them. Came in like well over 2x their estimates for stuff, right?
Dominated.
But the chart not only did not go up, the chart went down. And me, who is sitting here waiting until after earnings to sell the stock, because I was like, I know the game they play, I know what they're doing, but like I was like, this beat is going to be so big that surely it'll go up and I'll get a nice little exit pump. And it's just, no, we're down. We finished like down the next day, fairly significantly so.
Yeah.
How you feeling about this?
This one hurt my bags. I was like kind of dejected by this because like I know the game too, and I know that like sometimes it's already baked into the expectations or whatever, but I was looking at the environment and like the comps to me are like the TradFi brokerage firms, and those were all pumping after their earnings. Like, so Charles Schwab went first. It was up by like 6% after they announced. Then Interactive Brokers went next. It was up by 14% after they announced. And then Robinhood up 14% after they announced. So I was like, okay, so we like after each one of those, we knew that they were going to beat expectations, and it still continued to pump. And then Coin, of course, has to let us down. Crypto has to let us down.
This is a perpetual disappointment, man.
The same thing happened back in like May when they reported earnings, like an earnings number that we knew was going to beat, and the stock did nothing. It went down like 20% afterwards.
Yeah. I don't know. Said the same thing last week. I think it's too much of my portfolio, and I don't know how much benefit it's giving me over just like holding Bitcoin versus like some of the other risks it introduces. There are other stocks that I kind of want to own that are in areas outside of crypto. I do want to free up some capital for that. So yeah, tomorrow's the day where we're pruning the position.
So I sold for the first time. I've held coin since we mentioned it on Irresponsibly Long at the beginning, or Alfalfa at the beginning. I haven't sold any since, and I just sold some for the first time. And I think the market, my thought of like the price action was like that the market's forward looking, and Coinbase dominated because transaction volume was really high during like a hot alt season where people are trading all this trash. We see the trash is going out of favor. So looking forward, you probably see less transaction volume. So I think the market is kind of like pricing that in. And I basically agree.
Yep. Hard to argue with that, sadly. And it's just also not looking great from a technicals perspective either at this point. Didn't really want to see it kind of pop back inside the inside the range there. Crypto in general, it just feels like we're getting like a lot of kind of positive headlines, and nothing's happening. You had the Abu Dhabi buying Bitcoin announcement last Friday that got you a 8-hour Bitcoin pump, and then it was like completely reversed. Some Sol ETF news that didn't do anything for Sol. It's generally a bad sign when the market fails to go up on good news, just as it's a bullish sign when it fails to go down on bad news. But we seem to be at the other side of that paradigm right now. Do you feel bearish on TradFi as well? Or are you just sort of lukewarm on crypto at the moment?
I don't really know how to feel, but I will tell you how I've been behaving is that how
have you been behaving?
I sold so much shit. I sold so much shit over the past few days, but
like stocks?
A lot today. Yeah, stock. Well, I sold ETH, a lot of ETH. I sold these stocks, Palantir, Sezzle, Robinhood, Sphere, Coin, and probably more that I just forgot to put on that list. But a lot of those are like, I don't know, I have like a benefit of writing those very high. So for me to sell that, I can like, at least in my own mind, be like, well, it's okay to sell it 10 bagger.
What are you doing with the money though? Are you going to sit in cash?
Yeah, sitting on it.
Okay, so you don't feel like there's good buys to be made out there right now?
Well, I'm very concerned about just like this next couple months. I don't know. You can think of it as like sort of like stock market astrology, but like I'm very concerned with this like quarterly expiration, options expiration that comes in March. And this is something like Chem talks about a lot, but he's like shown that if you look at just like historic stock market pullbacks, a lot of them coincide with this like March OPEX. And then I've seen like seasonality data where March is the worst performing month over the last 20 years.
I mean, saying goes, sell in May, go away, right? Does that mean that April is usually a good bounce back? You get like the tax selling in March and then you have like a really strong April?
Yeah, it must be, right? It must be if like May's the bad month or June's the bad month.
Unless like we just couldn't rhyme anything with sell in February.
Yeah, maybe I'm front running it. Maybe I'm like a little too scared. But honestly, my account value, it's like my stuff moves more in lockstep with the NASDAQ. So like NASDAQ's at all-time highs. Like my portfolio value is at all-time highs. And I'm just seeing what the bloodshed going on in crypto. And I'm just feeling a little nervous about it. And I'm just trying to get out. You know, I'm like not trying to be too greedy. I want to just make some money. Haven't like sold anything in years.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I've held more cash in the last couple of months than I've held in a very long time, and haven't really deployed it into anything new. I just kind of keep accumulating more cash. I'm trying to think like what the eventual outcome is here. What a catalyst would be. it is really hard to see what is going to be like the mega bull pumptastic thing that happens in the near future. The economic data we had last Friday was like pretty concerning, right? We had retail sales just print like a huge negative number when the market was expecting like a positive print.
I saw that too. That was concerning.
That was a little weird. And then the market did its reflexive like pump, like, oh, bad news is good kind of thing. And I was wondering, when that happened, I was like, is it? Because at some point, bad news becomes bad again, right? We've just been in a bad news good paradigm for so long.
Particularly when Jerome says explicitly, like, we're not going to ease. That's not even on the table. It's not on the table until there's 0% rates. And like, we're so far from 0% rates. So it's just not happening. So I don't think bad news can be good with him saying that.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely feels like this is a good time to be hedging. I guess this is for people who own a lot of Bitcoin and stocks. Like, yeah, if you own a lot of altcoins, you're already wrecked. I guess. I guess you could still hedge a little bit. But like, I'm thinking about ways to hedge right now. I've had my eyes on NVIDIA maybe for some puts plays kind of at the range highs here that caused the breakdown. I've had my eyes on TLT. That's a possible long play.
The 20-year bond.
Yeah, I know. Great. Tough times here on Irresponsibly Long. We're breaking out the bond fund.
We're talking bonds.
We're talking bonds, baby. But no, if I were to trade this though, I would trade it like a man. Just be long calls, baby.
Oh yeah,
stacked
you gotta
to the
lever
gills.
up, baby.
It's kind of an interesting chart. Like if you zoom way the fuck out, it's kind of is it going to go lower?
Wait, how many years back did you go on this?
This goes to 2003.
Holy cow. Yeah.
Yeah. Some solid data here. I mean, when I look at the bond market, right? When I look at what Trump wants, what Besant wants, they want lower 10-year rates, right?
Yes.
They both want lower 10-year rates. So if they're able to magically do their thing, then you get lower 10-year rates, and probably TLT also goes up, rates down, TLT up. If you get like a bit of an economic meltdown, I mean, I think that's also that's historically been quite bullish for the long end, right? Like these sort of financial crises, they tend to be like bullish dollar. And then you tend to get a nice little pump in TLT. Now, I guess there was a bit of an exception last time around, right? Because we had stocks and bonds both go down.
Yeah.
And that was kind of gnarly. So the pure trade that like I might just end up putting on might just be long dollar, or I might go like some long TLT, some long dollar. But the dollar looks poised to go higher. But I also think that, rates probably down because they either are able to sort of force them down, or the market forces them down with some sort of nasty risk off event. But either way, like I'm not getting super jazzed looking at risk assets right now and thinking about like pouring more money into stuff. I know we just bought a bunch of MicroStrategy last week, and I do still like that trade. But that's like enough for me. Like I'm good. Like I'm not falling over myself to put 100% of my net worth even in like Bitcoin, never mind kind of go all in a bunch of altcoins, because it just feels like not a very high probability environment right now.
So yeah, I agree on the probability. Like it's not a high probability environment. I'm thinking like for Stockland, I would fall back on the fundamentals, like good companies that are maintaining good earnings and growing earnings. Like even in this environment, they'll probably still continue to perform. I just wouldn't expect the multiple to expand. So you just got to find companies that are still able to generate earnings.
Mm-hmm. you have anything else that you're looking at these days?
I just have a lot of things that I want to own more of if the multiple contracts. So like Nvidia is one. Like I want to buy more Tesla if we get a pullback. There's a lot of things like on a pullback that I would buy, but I'm just happy to sit and watch. And you know, like I think everybody who follows us knows that like when I have cash on the sidelines, I can still sell out of the money options and generate returns that way. So, you know, I'm fine just waiting.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to play the options game and get some cash flow, even when stuff isn't going up. It's definitely something I've been looking at focusing on more, especially with like my Bitcoin stash. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the coin when I sell it. Like I might I might put it in like just short-term bonds.
Money market, baby. Yeah, I have that.
God, that's so gross.
But I can still use that as like the collateral. I still use that as collateral for selling these options. So it's like just an extra layer of juice on top.
And I use it as collateral to trade, right? So it's not like I'm sitting out of the market, right? Like I'm long BABA calls, right? But those are long against like the collateral of my brokerage account. Like a decent chunk of which like is in bonds right now because like I have some money set aside for taxes and whatnot. But yeah, thinking of increasing that allocation. Trying to think where it's good to start being greedy again. I do feel like Bitcoin could have like a nice little move here. I mean, we are just in a range. It's just a range. And if I pull up the Bitcoin chart, it's just like a whole lot of nothing going on, right? You got your December high and you got your December low, and then that's pretty much it.
So what is that range that you highlighted? I can't see it very well.
Where's my December low here? Is that December low? So, I mean, this is just, you know, it's just 90K to 108K and just kind of going sideways in there for the most part. And if you want to narrow it down even more, I mean, the bulk of activity on Bitcoin has basically taken place in this 90 to 100K region, right? We've had a couple of quick deviations above, but for the most part, this has sort of been equilibrium for price. And, you know, you can even see recently like how the wicks of all these moves are kind of respecting this 95, 5K mid-range here. I think we'd probably go a little bit lower this week, maybe test the bottom of that wick and then get another move up. I just don't really know what happens next. I don't have a ton of conviction in way up or way down.
Yeah, I guess you would probably just like buy the low end of the range and sell the high end.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm a range trader right now. And yeah, I'm been sitting around looking to buy in the 92s and, you know, hopefully sell like 103, 104, which is a nice little move. It's just not glamorous. I know everybody's sitting around waiting to be like, oh, when can I buy my coin so that it goes up like 20x? But yeah, it's hard right now. I mean, you're sitting here at a sideways range for Bitcoin. Everything else is dying. It doesn't look like amazingly strong. It also doesn't look weak, but you've got kind of like your tax season right around the corner, and then you've got months of summer after that, which historically has not been very kind to us, right? So it is tempting to just like take your chips, go home, and maybe look to buy some blood in the summertime. I know seems like there's been blood, but things can definitely get a lot worse. And if Bitcoin ends up going to, you know, into the 70s and still like stocks are still at all-time highs, right? Like if the stock market sneezes 15, 20%, and Bitcoin trades back into the 70s. Like, I don't even want to know like what the prices of some of these some of these coins do. Solana in particular, I think could really, 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 really get nuked because it's still got a lot of paper gains on it. Some of this stuff has already gone to zero, like so badly that it's just, how do you kill that which is already dead? But Solana could definitely go double digits if this thing gets a little bit ugly. So
yikes.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, there's one trade I'll share with you guys that I think is interesting. Don't want to give away all the magic lines trades here, but I will say like one of the interesting coins in crypto has been Monero. Are you familiar with Monero?
This was like a privacy focused blockchain, right?
Yep. I mean, this is the market cap chart. I'm pretty sure the rest of it's going to be almost identical. Yeah. So Monero, it had some FUD last year. Got delisted from Binance, I think, Spot. A bunch of exchanges kind of delisted the Spot.
Why?
Because it's a privacy coin,
So
right?
it's like
it is like if you truly believe in crypto as this way to like exit the system, like Monero is like it's the king, right? From like a like the way the coin is constructed standpoint. Things that are bad about Monero are like, maybe like the lack of liquidity, doesn't quite have the trading volume, the markets that Bitcoin has, obviously. But in a world that is becoming like more and more adversarial, in a world where fiat is definitely dying and you're maybe moving towards like a president AOC or something in 5 years, or whatever crazy shit happens, capital controls, like the value of stuff like this, I think goes like really, really, really up. Because if you want to talk about being able to exit the system with capital, I mean, this is like kind of like a good way to do it. I think Monero is still chilling at like 4 billion market cap versus Bitcoin's like over, well over $1 trillion. So even just as like a comp to Bitcoin, it's got a lot of tailwinds for it. And the chart has been like really strong. I mean, this is basically just a nonstop uptrend for the most part here since this was kind of the FUD in February, but it's been just like 365 days of basically up. And the last couple of months have been especially interesting because the rest of the crypto market has been pretty down. And if you sort of chart Monero versus like Total 3, which is sort of like the rest of the market, like you can really see there was an inflection point kind of end of November. I'm actually not really sure what happened here, but Monero versus the rest of the alt market since beginning of December is just crazy gains. I mean, this thing is up 70%, versus the rest of the market, and it's up in dollar terms pretty good, while everything else is getting nuked to all hell.
I like buying things that are up when everything else is down, and you present a pretty compelling use case. I'm wondering, for your sake, like how much, if you're buying this today, like how much of that is like based on this 5-year sort of like exit the system thesis versus like you just like the chart and you're just going to trade the chart?
I mean, it's both. I think it's kind of an awkward place to leverage long it on the chart, right? But I think it is one of the few coins in crypto that actually fits into sort of like a multi-year investable thesis, right? It has like a defined reason for existing, a defined benefit. It does not have competition. Like Zcash is the closest thing, and Zcash, as far as I'm concerned, and I think most people, is dead. I don't even think we know if the supply of Zcash is even fixed, which is a weird cloud to have hanging over the coin. So it's a very unique coin in a world of just like thousands of derivatives, right? It's got Lindy. Like, you can kind of see why there might be some sustained buy pressure on this thing. So I think it's cool to have in a portfolio. I think if you have Bitcoin, it's cool to have this coin.
So help me understand this too. Like, this is like a pretty naive question, but like, why couldn't you use Bitcoin to exit the system in the similar fashion? Is that because like your wallet address would be easily traceable to your identity?
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin is like one of the most traceable things on planet Earth. Like, as far as want to talk about chain of custody of assets, I mean, it's just all there on a public ledger. Whereas like everything on Monero is like completely obfuscated.
Yeah. And I guess the fear would come into play if like using Bitcoin became illegal, because like they still couldn't stop you from doing it, and they couldn't like reverse the transactions. So there's nothing they could do other than like identify that you've used it and then have that be punishable.
Yeah, but they could.
Yeah.
Also, if there's just like a world of capital controls, like you maybe want to buy particular things, you want to send particular payments. Kind of hard to do it with Bitcoin because, again, everything is very traceable, and the FBI, the government, they've got all this data on everybody's wallets, and people are not very anonymous in crypto, right? So something like this, you can see it thriving in that kind of environment. And I don't know, in a world of just a bunch of trash that I have no desire to own because I'm just like, why is this even a thing? It makes sense.
Yeah, this has a reason. This has a clear reason.
Is it a raison d'être? I don't know how to. I don't speak
I've
French.
Never known how to say that.
So yeah, we're adding that to the magic folio.
I like it.
We'll see how that ages in a few years. Let's wrap it up today with something a little lighter. See if I can pull this up here on my old screen for us. We got some interesting drama happening in the Bitcoin world. I don't know if you heard about this, but there are rumors flying today.
Oh, I did see
that Satoshi is actually Jack Dorsey.
Yes, we've identified Satoshi. I believe,
which I think is kind of wild. Kind of wild to think about.
Do you believe in the dots that they're putting together? Is it a compelling enough case for you?
I mean, it's fairly compelling. So this is Matthew Siegel, who I believe is with Van Eck.
Yeah.
Right. So this isn't some random anon account on the internet. But he basically has published this like slide deck, right, where he's basically putting Jack's activities side by side with Satoshi's activities on a multi-year timeline. And there's a great deal of interesting evidence here. Like, I think like the first ever Bitcoin block mine coincides with Jack's mom's birthday. And then like another significant event coincides with Jack's dad's birthday. It's got all this kind of like interesting circumstantial evidence from Jack's early days. I didn't realize what a cypherpunk he was.
Me neither.
Back in the day, but apparently he's on the cypherpunks mailing list.
What a beast!
Yeah, I was tweeting some cryptic things around the time of Bitcoin's creation. People should check this thread out if they want to dive into it. It's pretty long.
Yeah, it reminds me of this is going to be an odd reference, but it reminded me of Ted Kaczynski. How they identified that it was Ted Kaczynski is they used like his rhetoric in his like messaging to identify him, and that's like one of the ways that they did it with Dorsey here, and he was like talking about being a sailor, like out on the seas, and then that Satoshi has used similar verbiage in some of his like block messaging. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's so much numerology, and apparently Jack loves the numerology, and he's done a bunch of weird shit with his own stuff. Like here it says Jack's father Tim's Twitter handle is Tim535353. 53 is an important number to him, as his birthday is May 3rd, 53. Has tweeted about it hundreds of times, including how he's 53 when he joined Twitter. He was born at 1:53 a.m., or as he once wrote, 0153. Square's IPO was 11/19. Jack's birthday. So he likes doing things.
Holy shit, man! This guy's
on the birthdays. And he also had his old alias, Jack Damon. Deleted the website with the graphic one day before the Bitcoin white paper was published. And there's just like there's just a ton of these, you know. So you see Jack's mom born 111, Satoshi's first transaction, 1031, Neil Stephenson's birthday, 1031, Bitcoin white paper comes out, 1119, Jack's birthday, 1119, Satoshi joins the Bitcoin forum. Satoshi's first transaction sent from address with this home FTP in the middle of it. Cryptonomicon home FTP is a home-based decentralized personal service system. There's like all these like weird things with the addresses. Like there's all these Easter eggs in the addresses. Yeah, see his block 5353 was mined on February 9th by Satoshi. It was awarded to an address that starts with 4DBY. This could mean for Dad's birthday.
Oh my God.
So some of this stuff is definitely a little out there.
This is
last mine block.
I think this is fascinating, dude. I hope we dig deeper on this, and we have a forum to do that, which is like the Alfalfa podcast, and we have our content meeting for that coming up in a few minutes. But I hope we really dive deep, because this is so fascinating to me.
Yeah, I was wondering if this had any impact on the markets, because Bitcoin tumbled off a cliff pretty severely this morning, like at about the exact time that Matthew published this tweet, which I thought was interesting. It's probably not bullish for price, right? Like if suddenly the market wakes up to the idea that there's like 5 billion in this wallet controlled by Jack Dorsey.
Yeah. Yes.
The uncertainty alone would be pretty bearish. So possibly bullish Monero. Bearish Bitcoin, bullish Monero, maybe. I don't know. Is this tradable? Probably not, but like, God, like I feel like it would be quite short-term bearish. I don't think the market would like that uncertainty.
No, I don't think we're ever going to get certainty on this topic, because like he's never going to admit to it. And
the guy's just walking around with shirts that say like Satoshi.
I know, he's
all the time, hiding. You know. People would be like, he'd give us a signal.
I know. God, it was obvious in hindsight.
I mean, on his deathbed, like, guys, you're all fucking morons.
I told you the whole time.
Oh, all right. Well, let's wrap it on that note. Anything you'd like to tell the audience before we call it a day?
No. But
just when product, Eric? When options product?
Oh man,
people are foaming at the mouth. They want the options alpha.
Well, I can tell you this, dude. I'm a better options trader than I am a product launcher, because I would
agree with that.
I hit like
Given
one
that your product launching
block.
is a zero.
I hit one stumbling block in like a product launch, and I'm like, okay, well, that's over. That's like, I feel like I'm stumbling on like there's so much that I could do when like the MVP would just be like, do this one thing, and I don't know. It's hard.
All right. Well, hopefully we get that someday in the future.
Yeah.
In the meantime, if you guys want to chat with us, feel free to hit up the Alfalfa Pod Discord.
And join Magic Lines.
alfalfapod.com. Yes, Magic Lines, although the founders membership is now done, you can still join. You can still be a part of the gang. It's never been a more important time to have some sort of guidance in the market.
No doubt.
Because everything is a fucking shit show right now. So if you want to check that out, magiclines.xyz/IL. You guys can join. Might have another special in the near future. I don't know. We'll see. But we'll definitely keep you posted if that's the case. Also, follow me on Twitter, 0xmagiclines. Get that great Solana bear porn content if you're into that sort of thing. Other than that, I think that was good. That was a fun little discussion, Eric. And we'll see everybody back here, same place next week. Thank you for joining us, everybody.
Good stuff.
Goodbye.
Bro. See ya.